Bismillah, read. Okay, read from there. وَإِنِ افْتَتَحَ from there. Bismillah. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So that ayah primarily refers to, like we said, remember we discussed earlier that a person, if he's out of town, he doesn't have to be a musafir. He can read his sunnats on his conveyance, sitting without making full sajda and full ruku. So this masla is also applicable, very much applicable in today's day and age. For example, you're traveling from Lanes to Roshni or PE to Utenaik or whatever, and you're in a bit of a hurry. Maybe the driver is in a bit of a hurry, so he says, look here, we're just going to read our faras and we're moving. We're reading our faras and then we are moving. So then you can sit in your car and then you can read your sunnahs. Yeah, it refers to any sunnahs, right? Even the sunnahs of Zohar, Asar, Maghrib, etc. But not the witr, obviously, because witr is wajib. And there it says also, according to one opinion, Imam Hanifa says that because the sunnahs of Fajr is the two sunnahs of Fajr is very much emphasized, so that you have to get out of your car or you have to get off your horse or you have to get off your camel and read that, right? So now that's applicable to us. We can do that. You're traveling and the driver don't want to wait for you to finish your sunnahs, or you want a bus, whatever, you're traveling by bus, and then the bus has been moving sharp now, and then you just finish your faras, you jumped on the bus, you can read in the bus your sunnahs, etc., right? Maybe you're going to Hajj, you're going from Makkah to Mina or Mina to Arafat, you can read your sunnahs, whatever. So now the next masala we're going to discuss is that if you started either on your conveyance and you wanted to finish off your conveyance, or you started on the floor and then you want to jump into the conveyance with minimal movement. Okay, this maybe won't be so applicable to a vehicle, because I don't know if you can step into a vehicle with minimal movement. But anyway, that's not also permissible, right? Because it's one of the reasons why they say, I'll point it out to you. So you are reading your sunnat namaz, right? So وَإِنِ اسْتَتَحَتْ تَطَوَّعَ رَاكِبًا, you started reading your sunnat, your Zohar namaz. So let's look at the scenario. The Amir said, we're not stopping now for Zohar now. Not yet. I'll tell you when we're going to stop. But the Amir said, I'm going to tell you when to stop. So you said, okay, the Amir said, not yet. We're not going to stop now. But in the meantime, while I'm on my horse as we are going, or on my camel, or my donkey, or my mule, I'm going to read my sunnahs of Zohar, right? So in the middle of reading your sunnahs of Zohar, I'm saying, okay, we're stopping here now. Proud darling, yeah, we're going to stop here, yeah? Zohar namaz. So, وَإِنِ افْتَتَحَتْ تَطَوُّعَ رَاكِبًا, he started his sunnahs of Zohar, right? While he was mounted on his conveyance, right? ثُمَّ نَزَلَ, then all of a sudden the Amir gave the instruction that yes, now we're going to stop here. We're going to stop here for Zohar. It's a nice place, Shal Al City, whatever, right? ثُمَّ نَزَلَ يَبْنِي, then he can continue. He'll just slip off his horse, and on the ground he will continue with his salah, right? Right. نَزَلَ يَبْنِي. Then وَإِنْ صَلَّى رَكْعَةً نَازِلَةً, but the converse scenario, you were reading salah on the ground, and all of a sudden the Amir said, we're moving now. The driver said, we're moving, right? وَإِنْ صَلَّى رَكْعَةً نَازِلَةً ثُمَّ رَكِبَ, now you want to get onto your conveyance. Istaqbala, we say you can't continue. You will have to restart your salah, right? Right, you'll have to restart your salah on your conveyance. Are you with me? So you have to start again. Now, لأن إحرام الراكب, if you look at the person who is on the conveyance, he's in the car or he's on the horse, whatever. When he made ihram, he said Allahu Akbar, right? In aqada mujawizan liruqi wa sujudi liqudratihi ala nuzuli. When he made that intention that he's starting salah, although he's not spelling it out clearly, but technically speaking, in his mind, his niyat is accommodating for coming down and doing the ruku and sajda properly. You understand what I'm saying? You understood what I'm saying? Because look here, it's very possible that the Amir of the Kafla, the Amir of the caravan will say, we're going to stop here. So his niyat accommodates what? his niyat accommodates for the current ruku and sujudu, which is only by sign, and it also accommodates for a full ruku and a full sajda. Are you with me? Are you with me? So لأن إحرام الراكب, because the ihram of the rakib, the one who is riding, in aqada, it takes place in such a manner that mujawizan lirruku wa sujudi, that it permits, it allows for ruku it permits for ruku, a full ruku and a full sujud. Why you say it permits for it? Because لقدرته على النزول, because it's very possible and he's able to get off and make a full ruku and a full sajda. Are you with me? Right. So فإذا أتى بهما صح. So if he came off his conveyance and he made a full ruku and a full sajda, it's fine, there's no problem. Why? Because his niyat had the capacity for it, right? But وإحرام النازل. But look at the person who is on the ground and he said, now he started his sunnats, right? I'm reading my 4 rakat sunnat al-zuhr here, right? وإحرام النازل in aqada li wujubi ruqi was sujudi. When he made intention, I'm reading 4 rakat sunnat al-zuhr here. His intention is what? His intention is, I'm going to be making a full ruku and a full sajda, right? That was his intention. Now, when he go onto the camel, the horse, the donkey, the car, whatever, he's making an incomplete ruku and sajda. And what was his intention? To make a complete. So you are doing lesser than what you promised, or what you niyat, what you had niyat. You had niyat at full ruku and you niyat a full sajda, but now you're doing what? You're doing lesser than that. So that's one. And there's also there's another principle also in fiqh. There's actually three reasons I give you in our kitab. One is you're making bina al-aqal bina'ul aqal al-aksar. You started off with more and you're ending off with less. You started off with more and you're ending off with less. You started off, you promised to do like how, for example, simple example to understand this here. If I promise you 10 rand and I came and I gave you 20 rand, is it a problem? It's not a problem, right? But if I promise you 10 rand and I came and I gave you 5 rand, is it a problem? It's a problem, right? So same thing here. You promised, or you undertook that you're going to do a full ruku and you're going to do a full sajda. Now you're under conveyance. Now you're doing lesser. That's one. Then the other thing is, I told you one is bina'ul aqal al akthar. You completing something in an incomplete manner which you undertook to complete in a complete manner. You're completing something in an incomplete manner which you undertook to complete in a complete manner. That's one. And the other one they said, also mentioned here in the Shara, that look here, that it's possible to, we haven't done this, but you will know this here. There's something called amal kathir, a great action, and amal qalil is something which does not nullify the salah, and amal kathir is that which nullifies the salah. There's different explanations to what amal qalil and amal kathir is, but the best explanation is for amal kathir, that which will nullify the salah. When an onlooker looks, and he will think you are not in salah. When an onlooker looks and he will think you are not in salah, then such an action takes you out of salah. So they're saying here that going from the ground onto your horse, onto your camel, that is amal kathir. So that's why it won't be permissible to build on it. So I gave you 3 reasons. One is you firstly, you promise to do more, but you're doing less. Secondly, you're making bina'ul you're making bina'ul aqal al, you're making bina'ul out here. You're building lesser upon more. Bina'ul aqal al akthar, right? And there's bina'ul akthar al aqal. No, bina'ul aqal al akthar, right? And then the other one is this here, that you are engaging in amal kasir. So ihram nazili, right? So the ihram of the person who is coming down in aqada li wujubi ruku, he done it to make wajib full ruku sujud, fala yaqdiru ala tarki ma lazimahu min ghayri uzrin. So it is not permissible for him to leave out doing the full ruku and sajda. That's why we say you must complete it on the ground, right? Are you with me? One Abi Yusuf in annahu yastaqbilu idha nazala aidan. According to Imam Abu Yusuf, even if you're coming from the top, like we remember there, we said if you're coming from your horse down, if you're coming from your camel down, then you can continue on the ground. Remember, because you're making more than what you promised. But the Imam Yusuf don't agree with it. Imam Yusuf says no. Even if you're coming down from, if you're coming down still, you must restart your salah, right? Right? وأنا أبي يوسف أنا يستقبل إذا نزل أيضا, when you come down from your horse or your camel, then you have to make what? You have to restart, right? وكذا عن محمد, and Imam Muhammad says if you read one rakat already on your conveyance, you're on your horse, on your camel, on your mule, on your donkey, on your car, and then you slip off the seat, just to, if you finish one full rakat, then it's not correct. Then you have to restart. But if you just started and you never complete a full rakat as yet, then fine, you can come down and you can complete your salas on the ground. Are you with me? Right. وكذا عن محمد إذا نزل بعد ما صلى ركن والأصح هو الظاهر. So here you got the opinion of Imam Yusuf and you got the opinion of Imam Muhammad, but he's saying the asah means, inshallah, if you stick around and you do the iftar course, you'll do the different terminologies that points to what the fatwa is on. Asah means the correct opinion is what is the zahir. It is that you can come from top to bottom and complete your salah. You can come from top to bottom and complete your salah. Okay, there's few minutes left. I wonder, must we start a new chapter? Must we start a new chapter or we start one time Monday? What you say? The next chapter is a very interesting chapter also. Faslun fi qiyami Ramadan. Chapter with regards to standing in prayer in the month of Ramadan. We're coming to Ramadan also. So remember I told you, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allah Ta'ala accept the previous chapter. Whatever, I hope everybody understood everything. Allah Ta'ala accept it. Allah Ta'ala make it a means of mercy. Allah Ta'ala make it a means of rahmat. Allah Ta'ala make it a means of shifa. Allah Ta'ala give us a tawfiq to practice upon it. So remember I told you that besides faraz and besides witr, everything else is referred to nafil in our context here. But in a technical sense of a word, I told you nafil is the least. You get faraz, wajib, sunnat mu'akkada, sunnat ghair mu'akkada. Then you get nafil after that. But in our context here, or in the context of the Kutub al-Fiqh, everything besides faraz and witr is being referred to as nafil. So technically speaking, if you look at that definition, the Taraweeh namaz also supposed to come in the previous chapter. Are you with me? Because it is besides the faraz and it is besides the witr. So technically speaking, it's supposed to come under the previous chapter as well. Technically speaking, it's supposed to come under the previous chapter as well. But why did the author bring it separately? Yes, so we say agree. Yes, we agree with you. Yes, Taraweeh namaz does come under that. But the reason why the author brought it separately probably is because there's a few distinguishing factors of Taraweeh namaz. One is I told you it is done in Jamaat, and that's not in the kitab, but for your information, I told you to make Taraweeh namaz in Jamaat is sunnate mu'akkada al-kifaya. What does sunnate mu'akkada al-kifaya means? It means that if we living here in PE, for example, right? If few people make the namaz in Jamaat, Taraweeh namaz, then the whole community is absolved, is exonerated of executing the sunnat mu'akkada, right? But if for example, in PE now, nobody decides to make Jamaat, everybody decides to read his own Taraweeh namaz alone. Everybody decides to read his individual, then the whole of PE will be guilty of neglecting a sunnat mu'akkada. That's when we say al-kifaya. So you get farz al-kifaya, you get wajib al-kifaya, you get sunnat mu'akkada al-kifaya. And the simple explanation is where you get the word al-kifaya. What it means is that if certain people do it, the rest of the community is relieved of that responsibility, they're absolved of the responsibility. Like how we told you, we done this also in Mishkat Sharif, those that are with us in Mishkat Sharif, that if somebody passes away, it is farz al-kifaya to bury that person. If any one of the community, whether it is primarily it is the duty of the heirs to do it, but say since the heirs don't do it, but if any one of the community does it, the rest of the community are relieved of the responsibility. They're not answerable to Allah Ta'ala. But if nobody of the community does it, then everybody is answerable, everybody is sinful. That is, I hope that is clear, right? So same thing I was telling you, some of the distinguishing factors of the Taraweeh namaz, why it is brought separate in a separate chapter, etc., is because it is sunnate mu'akkada al-kifaya jamaat. Right, that's the first thing. The second thing here, it has a fixed amount of rakats, unlike the other nafil namazes. You can recharge so many, etc. Another distinguishing factor is this here, that in Taraweeh namaz, You make one khatam of the whole Quran. And also another distinguishing factor, it has a specific time, and that must be after your Isha Salah. So At-Tarawih is a jam of Tarawihatun. At-Tarawih is a jam of Tarawihatun. And Tarawih means Isalul Rahati. Isalul Rahati. To give comfort, to give peace. And how is it relevant to this chapter here? It's relevant to this chapter because after every 4 rakats, you're supposed to sit for the duration of another 4 rakats. So that is the tarwiyah, the resting period. That is the tarwiyah, which is the resting period. Okay, we'll stop there, inshallah. We'll continue on Monday. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq. Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to practice. Allah Ta'ala accept. Allah Ta'ala to make the means of forgiveness. Allah Ta'ala make the means of shifa. Allah Ta'ala cure all those that are ill. Subhanallah bihamdi. Subhanallah bihamdi. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.